Okay, hello guys, welcome to the fifth number sense video. In this one I will teach you how to add two numbers in the form a squared plus k times a raised to the 2. And if you don't understand what that means, I'm about to show you. And you know, it's best to show with examples, that's why I put examples there. So it's like you have, let's think of an a. How about 5? A equals 5. So a squared 25 plus let's go with 3. 15 raised to 2. This may look hard at first glance, but if you can actually separate this first. Let's factor out the 15. It's just 3 times 5 raised to the 2. And now you should know that 3 squared is just 9, so this is really just 5 squared plus 9 times 5 squared. And hopefully you can see something that both of the terms have a 5 squared, so you can just go ahead and factor it out. And you're left with 1 plus 9, which is 10. So what's 10 times 5? Times 5 raised to 2. It's just 5 squared, 25. It's just 250. Although it looks like we did a bunch of steps, all you really have to know is that this is 3 times as this. So it's just 9 plus 1, 10, and 10 times the factored number. Hopefully you understood. So basically here we have a squared, and that number is b. The 3 was a b. You're multiplying it with a, and with the distributed property you get b squared times a squared. Okay, now as you can see here, you can actually factor out the a squared, and you're left with 1 plus b squared. In UIL number sense test, the only numbers that they will probably give you are these three, because they're like, give you a perfect fit. And for example, let's say we have, well, we already know that a squared is factoring, we're just left with this, so let's just plug them in. What if b is 2? 2 raised to the 2, 4. 4 times 1 is 5 times a squared. So it's just a 5 if it's twice as big. And if b is 3, if the second number is 3 times as big as the first one, well, it's 3 squared plus 1, which is 10. So it's just 10 times a squared. And if b is a 7, which I don't really think I've seen this one, but it would make sense if they actually put it. I don't expect anything else that they would put. Sure, this applies to other numbers, but this is one of the best fits that I could find. You could probably extend it to other numbers, but anyway, 7 squared, 49 plus 1, 50. So 50 times a raised to the 2. So we have these three numbers. Okay. So now that we have these three numbers, let's move on. And here is a more I actually worked it out before, apparently. So this, like I said, B is more commonly used, like 2, 3, and 7, when A squared is just 1. And you're more likely to get these 3. Like, I don't recommend you memorize it, just remember that you factor out an A squared from this, and you get this. You add 1 to the B squared. Okay, now let's have an example. Let's say we have 12 squared plus 36 squared. Well, obviously, well, more than likely, people are probably going to know 36 squared. But if you don't, you can use this method as a shortcut. You know that 36 is 3 times as big as 12, so 3 squared, 9. 9 plus 1, 10. So it's just 10 times 12 raised to the 2. So hopefully you know what 12 to the 2 is. It's just 144. Just add that extra 0, and voila. You did 2 squares and add them up. It was almost like magic. Okay. So now let's say we have a, let's see, let me think. 8 raised to the 2 plus 56 raised to the 2. Well, hopefully you know that 8 times 7 is 56. So this is really just 1. Well, if you factor out 8 squared, you get 8 squared times 1 plus 7 squared, which is just 50 times 8 squared. And hopefully you know that 50 is half of 100, so you get 6400 divided by 2. And yeah, that's a 5 chart. Okay, so moving on. How about one more example? How about hard coming up with a good blueprint. Well, hopefully people know what 14 squared is. Okay, so 14. If you factor out 14 squared from these two, you get 1 plus 1 squared plus 2 squared, which is just 5. So you factor out 14 squared, 2. And also, hopefully you know that 5 is half of 10. So 196.0 divided by 2 is just that. Okay. So now let's go on to a more general approach. So what do we have numbers in the form? C times A raised to the 2 plus B times A raised to the 2. Well, this is basically just the same thing. Just factor out the A squared and all you have is C raised to the 2 plus B raised to the 2. It may be a little more complicated, but at the same time I doubt it'll be like your number sense test for examples. But at the same time I want to generalize this. For example, when this is just A to the 2, It's 1. The c is just 1. 1 squared is just 1. That's why it's a 1 is just there. So hopefully you understand this. Okay, so now let's work on an example of this particular problem. Okay, so let's say we have, let me think. 36 raised to the 2 plus 48 raised to the 2. Well, this one looks really hard. Like, you might be like, oh, how do I approach this? Well, you can just factor out. Ooh, factoring, that sounds interesting. And you could probably factor out a number of ways. But the way I was thinking, well, I'm probably gonna approach this several ways. Let's factor out a 6 squared. You could factor out another number, probably doing a little bit. But this seems a little more reasonable. Okay, so we have 6 squared plus 8 squared. And all you really have to do is 6 squared plus 8 squared. What does that equal? 100. Yo. Times 36. That's just 3600. Okay. So how about we factor out the greatest common multiple? Okay. So 12, obviously. That's the greatest factor possible. So we're just left with 3 squared plus 4 squared. Okay, so that would be 9 plus 16 is 25. So it's 25 times 144. That might look hard, but if you really think about it, 25 is just 1/4 of 100. So all you're really doing is this. Divided by 4. But if you still think that's hard, all you're really doing is this. You're dividing by 2, and you're dividing by 2 again. So what's 144 divided by 2? 72. What's 72 divided by 2? 36. So it's just 36. Oops, 3600. Which matches this one. Okay, so I hope I was able to teach you guys something. I hope you find this useful, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.